Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 17th. This week you have this performance card. It says expression, roles, vulnerability. You have this ancestors card. It says wisdom, blessings, and karmic bonds. So that could be good. Definitely could be some blessings. Again, even though we have all these retrogrades going on, as I've said to others, we have this water trine that's happening this month, and that's with Jupiter and Cancer. So it's actually very lucky at this time, and so it really doesn't matter that anything is retrograde. We could still find luck. We could be experiencing blessings. These grand trines that happen, are happening or anytime there's like a grand trine. It's kind of like, I look at it like a portal. There's like something coming through the energy because it forms the triangle in the chart, right? And so there definitely could be some blessings coming in based off of work that you've already done in your life, or if you've been waiting for anything. I kind of get that energy. It's funny that I said waiting, and then you get the Temperance card, which is a card of waiting. And so, again, if you've been waiting for anything to come in, there definitely could be some sort of blessing coming in now. You have the Lovers, the Three of Cups, and the Strength card coming up in the area of your current general energies. Sure, the Lovers could be love for you if you are looking for love, but you have the Chariot and the Three of Wands going down. We go down to the Chariot. We also have the Three of Wands right next to it. So the Lovers traditionally was a card of being at a crossroads. It was called the crossroads or the crossing or whatever. There's a million different names for it. And it kind of represents having a choice to make. Traditionally, it was a choice in love, but I'm not very traditional. So I would say that it can be a choice in any area of your life. With the Chariot and the Three of Wands, it would be a choice of setting yourself apart, making yourself unique, which, by the way, that is like the biggest theme right now for air signs, is setting yourself apart. Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus will move back into Gemini next year. Yeah, it's retrograde in Taurus this year, but I don't care. It's already been in Gemini, so who cares? And what I would say here is anything you can do, or if you're being given options in work, business, love, money, spiritually, whatever, and one of the options is unique, I would try it. You don't have to commit to anything, but trying unique solutions, unique opportunities, like I said, just trying them. You don't even have to put in that much effort, but you never know what you might discover, especially with, Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus and Gemini. It's kind of like just doing different things can be a huge benefit, and that's what I would do here. You have the Three of Cups. Yeah, all your readings, Libra, talk about other people. You get it the most out of like pretty much every sign. It's always like Three of Cups or Three of Pentacles is coming up for you. And so Three of Cups can be your community or the people around you. I do feel it's really important that air signs specifically surround themselves with quality connections. That means people who really support you, but it's a little bit deeper than that. You have to make sure that the people you're spending the most time with come from a position of love, support. Do they support your ideas, or do they make a face whenever you share one of your ideas or something like that, right? We need to make sure that, we are really focusing on those quality connections, because again, that will help us the most right now. The Three of Cups can also be a reunion. I do get a little bit of that energy here throughout the whole reading. I'm not saying this is like an ex coming back, but I definitely feel that some of you could have a person, like a friend, a family member, something like that you are reuniting with, or maybe it's a person you haven't seen for a long time. Again, very typical retrograde energy. This person could be traveling to see you, obviously, with these two cards here. And it looks really good. So again, if you're reuniting with like a family member or friend, this looks very positive. You have the Strength card. Strength is patience. I feel like you've been too patient. Strength, Temperance, and the Hangman. All in this bottom row right here. Even the King of Pentacles is a little bit too patient. He's the card of convention. He does things the same for too long. He's like the last person to innovate. How it's kind of funny because we have the King of Swords. It's like King of Swords is the early adopter, right? This is the guy that waits in line to buy the new iPhone every single year. The King of Pentacles is the guy that buys the last year's iPhone next year, right? And I don't know why that's popping into my head, but it's funny that you have this energy, like the two opposite energies, as far as that is concerned. But what I'm saying is I almost feel like you've been too patient. It's almost like the reading is saying you need to become an early adopter of like ideas or opportunities and things like that. Again, there's something like playing ping pong in my head for you here, Libra, about kind of the commitment level, like how much you commit to new ideas. And I also feel that you could be thinking, it's like, I feel like part of this reading, let me just say this, Chariot, Knight of Swords. I feel like part of this is you sometimes maybe get a little bit too far ahead of yourself. And that could have you missing opportunities or, something like that. I think it would be better for you to just say, like, I'm going to play around with this idea. It's like that simple little mindset shift on new ideas or even new people. It's like sometimes I think people go on a date with a person and they think like, I'm not going to date that person again. I'm not going to marry them. But it's like, well, you don't have to marry them. You know what I mean? It's like you could go on a couple of dates and see how it goes. And, I'm not even talking about love here. I think that looking at the things that you're doing and just saying, I'm just going to go on a date with this idea. I'm just going to go on a few dates with this plan that I have, and I'm going to see how it goes. And I'm not going to judge it until 3 months from now or something like that. It's like if you could just not think of it as like a long-term commitment, for whatever reason, I feel that would be very helpful for you. Like if you could just tell yourself, I'm just going to try it, just see how it goes for a little bit of time, and I can quit later, right? It's almost like giving something a chance is what the reading is saying. Feels like an opportunity. Here you go. With the Lovers, you have the Two of Pentacles, juggling, spinning plates, bouncing around all over the place, ping pong in your head, right? Type of energy for sure. So, again, this could be love. And I always say that, love at first sight is BS. They've done studies on this, and, it's like really people that like get married and stay together, they fell in love after like 5 dates, or something like that. So it's like you can't really get a good feel for a person on a first date. Most people on a first date are just like, are basically too stiff. They're afraid of saying things. You are too, right? We all are. I'm calling everybody out here, right? It's like we're not really who we are on a first date. We're trying to impress a person, and we're hoping we get lucky enough to see them naked. That is what dating is, right? So, and sorry if you don't like that, right? But that's a simple fact of life. So, it is what it is. And so again, it's like we should probably not let them see us naked until 5 dates, and we should also probably give them 5 dates because then they can shake it out, and you can too, right? But also, by the way, I feel like this is, I feel like this could be with your ideas as well. It's like, at first, it's like we have to like wiggle our ideas in. We have to get them to the place where they can work. With the Three of Cups, you have the Tower. Could be an X. I would be careful if it is an X here. Again, I feel like friend or something like that. This really isn't bad because we have the Chariot right next to it. A Tower and the Chariot can just be movement or making a move or just moving in general. So, I'm not too worried about it. The other thing is, like, everybody got the Tower. A lot of people have had it this week. A lot of people got it. Oh, everybody except for 2 people, I think, during the Mercury retrograde readings. I just did have the Tower. So, clearly there's probably going to be some sort of global Tower moment. Buckle up. Grab a bucket of popcorn because we're going to see a million Tower moments over the next several years. With the Strength card, you have the Ace of Wands, which is great. We have it twice right here. Ace of Wands is like that spark of hope or that spark of inspiration that we sometimes need to get motivated. And I kind of feel there is really, that's all I feel like it's saying. It's like saying there's like some sort of spark of hope coming in for you. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Revelry and Indulgence card. You have this Oracle card. It says seek wisdom and guidance from elders. And you have the King of Swords. So the King of Swords is the card of the mentor. We are in the time of the mentor. I think it's an amazing time to kind of like get inspiration from people who have done things that we want to do. The simple fact of the matter is we have Neptune and Pisces, and we need inspiration with Neptune and Pisces. It's like, especially retrograde. Neptune's retrograde. It will move back into Aries in January, your opposite sign, but we really need to be inspired for things to work. And so one simple way to find inspiration is to find a person who's done what you want to do and then model their success. You don't copy them, but you can learn from these people. I feel like the Satyr card, the Revelry and Indulgence card, is saying you need to have more fun. I see a lot of childlike energy at this time, just in the readings and just in the energy in general. So I think being more playful would be a good idea. The energy is too serious. You have the King of Swords, the Chariot, and the Hangman. Again, mentors doesn't have to be a man, by the way. It could be any gender of a person that you are learning from. The King of Swords can just simply be a person you look up to, or and again, you don't even have to interact with this person. I have mentors on YouTube that I don't even know, right? So you can watch their videos, read their books. Any mentor learning that you could do would be very beneficial. The other thing I'm getting here is like law and order. So he is a law and order, and if you're dealing with something legal, you could be kind of having a legal breakthrough here. On top of all that, like I said, there's something here about you becoming like an early adopter, or you becoming early to something instead of late. It's like maybe you have felt late for many, many times in your life. Like maybe you feel like you've missed the boat on certain opportunities. And I kind of feel like this is saying, hey, Libra, there's an opportunity. I had to wake you up there. Hey, there's an opportunity coming where you're going to be early, and so you should know that. It might, maybe it doesn't take off right away, or maybe you have to work on something for like 6 months before it really takes off or something, but you're going to want to be early. I really get that feeling from this reading. You have the Chariot, which is like a victory or charging towards victory. The Chariot is what everybody is doing right now. We're all being encouraged to set ourselves apart, or to move in new directions, or to do new things in life. And if we do that, we will be very successful. But again, I think your victory here is going to be by being early to something. And yeah, absolutely, it might move you in a completely new direction. He is completely leaving the past in the past and moving in a new direction. And that's exactly what I would do here. Some of you could be moving as well. You have a lot of moving cards: Tower, Chariot, Three of Wands. Even the King of Cups is a card that I call clue card. And the King of Cups I call the home. And so sometimes I think the King of Cups can be a move. You have the Hangman. It's like new perspectives are coming in. Uranus and Gemini. Again, we do have Uranus retrograding into Taurus this week, but it's the week of the 17th it'll already be retrograde in Taurus. But still, Uranus has already been in Gemini. So those new perspectives, new things that you're seeing, new opportunities, new ways of doing things, those are the things that you're going to want to pay attention to because it's going to be very beneficial for you air signs. For everybody, but extra for you. With the King of Swords, you have the Page of Cups. Yeah, it could be a little bit of love, like I said. I feel like there's something about needing to give this situation a chance. Again, not telling you what to do. Obviously, if the person has bodies in the trunk of their car when they pick you up, do not go on another date with them. I don't care how good they look, right? Obviously. If you get into their car, they have like zip ties and duct tape and a trash bag in their back seat. You should probably get out and leave, right? Obviously. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this, but I do. So, obviously. But if you go on a date, you kind of like them, you're not sure. It's like, I think the reading is saying it would be worth it to give something a second chance, And so there you go. With the Chariot, you have the Empress. Very good. So the Empress is like total abundance. Again, these readings for November have been shockingly abundant. I think money is changing at the end of basically, at the end of this year, beginning of next year, first few months or something, we're definitely going to see something happen in the financial markets. What it is, I have no clue, because Neptune and Pisces is unpredictable. But, I've been talking about this since 2016, that Neptune and Pisces rules anything that flows. We call it currency. We say that money flows, right? So, I don't know, buckle up, like I said. But money has been looking very good, so you could be doing something to change your abundance or to fix your abundance, or you could be doing something to make more abundance. Doesn't have to be money. It could be anything. This also says that you could be attracting more love into your life. Emperor says you're very attractive at this time. With the Hangman, you have the Sun. Love it. Very good reading, Libra. I love this reading. I don't know if you can tell, but I do like it. The Sun can be enlightenment. The Hangman is about gaining enlightenment. So it's almost like right here, this could be saying that you are getting answers, or you're finally discovering an answer on something that moves you forward. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this playfulness and cooperation card, this key card. It says lock, unlock on it. So I said something about playfulness at the beginning of the reading. Again, I think this is a very kind of like common collective energy right now. The universe is trying to get people to be more playful, have more fun. Because again, the energy is going the opposite direction. I think sometimes the universe tries to create correction through all of us. It tries to correct the energy by making us do things to make the energy better. And, that's definitely coming up here. I do feel like you could be like unlocking solutions with the Sun and the Hangman as well. And, obviously that would be good. Libra, make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. You have the Knight of Swords, the Three of Wands, and the Temperance card. Knight of Swords comes up a lot during Mercury retrograde because Knight of Swords is rushing. It's being too hasty, jumping to conclusions, making decisions too quickly. So we kind of should slow down a little bit with the Knight of Swords, especially if we're making an important decision. We also shouldn't jump to conclusions with the Knight of Swords, which seems to be a little bit of a focus for you here. It's like, I just get this feeling that your like first impression of something, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I just think it's like you're not getting the full impression. You're not getting the full picture of either a person or an opportunity. And again, it doesn't even have to be love. This could be like someone you could work with, or someone who could be part of your team or whatever you're doing. It's almost like something really does need that second look. And the Knight of Swords, like I said, is jumping to conclusions. So I think it would be worth it for you to like give something, like 2 chances, or, to look at something like 2 or 3 times instead of just looking at it once. It's like you're going to discover more. This is typical, retrograde energy. So definitely something I would pay attention to. You have the Three of Wands. Yeah, we are in a time of expansion, especially for air signs. I think of Pluto and Aquarius. It's like Pluto and Aquarius says really that everybody, but definitely air signs, need to get more attention. And so we have to take up more space. We have to be willing to say the things that we're afraid to say. We have to be willing to take the risk of, speaking up and being wrong, the risk of putting yourself out there, the risk of taking a risk in like work or business, right? Really, I think quite simply it boils down to criticism. We have to kind of like open up to the potential of receiving criticism if we do something. That's the risk of Pluto and Aquarius. But, Pluto is where we get our power. So, if we just stop caring what people think, like our parents or, anyone else in our life, then we will expand. And that is like the best way you can expand right now. You have the Temperance card. Like I said, I think that you need to be early to something. Sometimes I feel with Temperance that he's trying to be too perfect. He's trying to make something perfect right here. He's trying to turn water into wine. But he has this path with this glowing crown in the background, and this is the path to glory, and he could easily just go walk onto that path and go claim his crown. There's like nothing more that he needs to do. So I almost feel that it's saying you are going to want to be early to something. It feels like an opportunity to me, probably in work or business, but could be anything. And, if you get any opportunities, it'll be worth it. There you go. With the Knight of Swords, what do you know? You have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords wants you to look at the evidence. Page of Swords is like a detective. We had Pluto go retrograde in May, and it just only went direct last month or whatever. And we're going to be in the shadow for a while. Pluto is very slow moving. So I think that any opportunities that are coming your way, you should whip out your magnifying glass, and you should take a closer look at whatever is coming your way. Because, the Page of Swords, like I said, he's like a detective. He builds a case as to why something is right or why something is wrong in his life, right? So it's almost like that's what the reading is saying. It's like you're building a case for something, and maybe looking at it that way will help you. And looking at the evidence. Obviously, if the evidence tells you like, hey, this person you went on 2 dates with is a bozo, don't date them. If it says, hey, actually the evidence says they're good, then maybe you should give it more chances, right? And obviously, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this, but, again, if you really don't like the person, obviously don't. But, I'm saying if you kind of do and you're not sure, then, build the case. But this goes for everything this month. I would say not even just this week. For the rest, I would say like 2 weeks into December. From now until then. With the Three of Wands, you have the Devil here. Yes, again, we have to pay attention for serial killers. We have to pay attention to the evidence. We have to, if something is giving us a bunch of, toxic evidence, then we have to pay attention to that as well. I really feel this is about setting yourself free with that Three of Wands, because the Devil is about being stuck and bound to something. These people are stuck to the black box of Saturn that the Devil is sitting on right here. And you have the Three of Wands. He's standing where he has always been. He has to get on those boats and go on an adventure. So, it's time for you to leave something that you've been stuck to. Chariot, same thing. With the Temperance card, what do you know? Are you kidding? You have the Two of Cups. So again, perfect match. Maybe this is why. Two of Cups is usually very different than your usual type. It's usually something that starts with communication as well. So, again, this could be something that starts slow. It's Mercury retrograde. There's no need to rush dating a person during Mercury retrograde. Most astrologers say don't date, but I always say to those astrologers that say don't do things during retrogrades, I'm like, why don't you point out during the rest of the year all the things that we shouldn't do? Because if they were honest and they actually pointed all those things out, we would never do anything. So, to me, I think it's perfectly fine to date during a retrograde. You just pay attention, right? But definitely could be a solid match. Here you go. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this wealthy man. Maybe they're rich and you just don't know it at first, right? It says entrepreneur, financier, charm, career success, ambitious, young man, well-connected, auspicious results. You have this manifestation. It says manifest your desires, creation, power, resourcefulness, creativity, action, focused, potential, and talent. Yes, you are probably, it is a good time for manifestation. Like I said, the money stuff in these readings has been very positive. So you could also be doing things to, manifest better finances. And I think that would be a good thing as well. But you could be attracting a person who has money, I guess. You have the King of Cups, the Ace of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. King of Cups is your deep emotions. Again, the King of Cups has very deep emotions. He explores his emotions to a very deep level, but he is perfectly stable. So on a personal level, I think it would be a good time for you to explore your emotions and, process your emotions. But again, he's sitting in choppy waters, but he's perfectly fine. So great for stabilizing your emotions. But you could also be attracting a person like that who is very stable emotionally. You have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. This castle back here is meant to look like it's crumbling. And this wand represents a new opportunity. Tower, Chariot, Three of Wands. These are all cards of kind of leaving something behind and finding a new hopeful opportunity with the Ace of Wands. So pretty simple reading, Libra. I think you're attracting a really solid opportunity, or it could be multiple opportunities as well. So love it. You have the King of Pentacles, again, wealthy man. So, if you're attracting love, it's maybe the person doesn't dress wealthy, or maybe they just don't show their wealth up front, but maybe it's something you will discover over time. Also, like I said, I think it's an amazing time for all of us to work on wealth building, stabilizing our finances. And, the King of Pentacles is really a card of having very good financial habits. So anything you can do to make that happen would be good. With the King of Cups, you have the Four of Swords. You have Four of Swords resting, relaxing, recovering. But Four of Swords, you have that manifestation card. Four of Swords kind of tells me that you've been asking for something. He's hoping and praying to receive a blessing. There's a person right here who's blessing another person in that stained glass window. So you could be getting something that you've been hoping and praying for. It could be a person. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Knight of Swords. Yes, again, same thing. No jumping to conclusions on any opportunities that come your way. Again, like I said, I think it's important to say, the reading isn't saying you have to fully commit your life to something. It's just saying you might want to explore the idea of something. You might want to look into it because there's probably more than meets the eye here just based off of these cards. And, that's what I'll say. Knight of Swords in the good stuff is amazing for something happening quickly. So again, if you are working on any type of new opportunity that you are passionate about with the Ace of Wands, it could grow much faster than you think. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Four of Pentacles. Again, I don't really like the King of Pentacles or the Four of Pentacles outside of the good stuff. They're not bad cards, but King of Pentacles, card of convention. He just does things the same way over and over and over again. Four of Pentacles, a little bit stuck on the past or holding on too tightly to something. But in the good stuff, they're both very good for building financial security. So it seems to me like there's a big focus here, Libra, on financial security. Can't make this up. You have this door card. It says opportunities are waiting for you, obviously. And it could be by making some sort of change with the Tower, the Chariot, Three of Wands. You know, those cards can represent stepping into a new reality. And, you know, this door card, obviously, if you were to go to the other side of a door, there might be a new reality. You have this rainbow. It says the most difficult part of a situation is over. There you go. Yeah, this is probably one of the better readings I've done for you in a while. So there could be a lot of improvements. You have this wind chimes card. It says peace and harmony. Every time you get this card, I say Libra's middle name is peace and harmony. So, you know, whatever you can do to create more peace in your life and harmony would be a good idea. You have this bull. It says, do not back down from opposition. Show strength and fortitude. Yes, definitely a good time for strength. You have the strength card here. It's like anything. You are ready. You know, even that temperance card is saying to me that you are ready for something. There's nothing more you have to do. You just have to, like, get on that path and claim your crown. You have this candle. It says, you will be shown the way. Yeah, you are getting answers for sure. Four swords here. There was something else that I said. Oh, the hangman with the sun is enlightenment for sure. So, you know, clearly you are being enlightened to something. But this is one heck of a reading, Libra. I love it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.